Brazil is currently grappling with an alarming escalation of violence. The nation finds itself caught in a brutal conflict between powerful drug cartels and government authorities. This ongoing struggle has reached a critical and deadly turning point. The situation demands immediate attention from both domestic and international observers. It highlights deep-seated issues within Brazil's security landscape. The human cost of this conflict continues to mount. A massive police operation in Rio de Janeiro recently brought this crisis into sharp focus. It targeted the Comando Vermelho, one of Brazil's most formidable drug trafficking organizations. The scale and intensity of this action were unprecedented. This operation has been described as the deadliest in Rio's history. It underscores the extreme measures being taken to combat organized crime. The aftermath has left a nation reeling and questioning its approach to public safety. On October 28, 2025, the operation culminated in a tragic loss of life. At least 132 individuals were killed during the intense confrontations. This staggering number has shocked the country and the world. The casualties included 115 suspected gang members. 4 police officers also lost their lives in the line of duty. The identities of many other victims remain largely unknown. Many of those unidentified were young men from the favela communities. Their deaths raise profound questions about accountability and justice. The full impact on these vulnerable communities is still being assessed. Approximately 2,500 police officers and soldiers participated in the operation. This massive deployment reflects the perceived threat posed by the cartels. The objective was to dismantle key criminal strongholds. The operation was characterized by extreme violence. Intense gun battles erupted across several neighborhoods. Cartel members reportedly deployed drone-dropped explosives, escalating the conflict further. Police forces focused their efforts on areas like Complexo do Alemão and Penha. These regions are notorious hotspots for drug-related activities. They represent critical territories for the Comando Vermelho. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva expressed profound horror at the death toll. He publicly questioned the lack of federal oversight for such an extensive operation. His concerns highlight a potential disconnect in command structures. Local officials offered mixed statements regarding the operation's justification. Many emphasized that those killed were viewed as criminals. This perspective often frames the violence as a necessary evil in the fight against crime. However, these justifications often fail to address the broader implications. The high number of fatalities raises serious questions about proportionality. It also challenges the effectiveness of such aggressive tactics. Human rights advocates have vehemently condemned the raid. They have labeled the operation a massacre, citing the disproportionate loss of life. These groups argue that such military-style offensives are deeply flawed. Activists contend that these operations disproportionately affect innocent civilians. They often fail to distinguish between combatants and residents. This approach erodes trust between communities and law enforcement. One resident powerfully articulated the community's despair. They stated, "This cannot be considered public safety." This sentiment reflects a widespread feeling of insecurity and injustice among those most affected. This recent raid underscores the escalating power and reach of Brazil's cartels. Violent confrontations between criminal organizations and law enforcement are steadily increasing. The cartels are becoming more sophisticated and ruthless. The Comando Vermelho, in particular, is known for its brutal tactics. Claims of narco-terrorism have been associated with the group for years. Their actions have resulted in substantial fatalities in previous conflicts. The ongoing violence is not an isolated incident. It is part of a disturbing trend. The cartel's ability to challenge state authority is growing. The year 2024 alone saw around 700 people lose their lives during police operations in Rio. This statistic illustrates a grim and persistent pattern. It reveals a deeply entrenched cycle of violence. This trend raises critical questions about how drug-related violence is managed. The current strategies appear to perpetuate rather than resolve the conflict. A reevaluation of these approaches is urgently needed. The human cost of this ongoing struggle is immense. It impacts countless families and communities. The cycle of violence continues to claim lives and destabilize regions. This wave of violence comes at a politically sensitive moment for Brazil. The nation is preparing to host major global events. These include the C40 World Mayors Summit and the COP30 Climate Summit in November. These events will draw significant international attention to Brazil. The current security situation will undoubtedly be a focal point. It places the country under intense scrutiny from global leaders and organizations. The United Nations has already called for thorough investigations into the violence. They emphasize the critical importance of adhering to international human rights standards. Law enforcement operations must respect fundamental rights. The current situation in Brazil reflects broader concerns about governance and human rights. It also questions the effectiveness of existing strategies targeting organized crime. The problem is multifaceted and deeply rooted. The criminal landscape in Brazil is complex. It requires comprehensive approaches that extend beyond military interventions. A purely punitive strategy has proven insufficient. Addressing socioeconomic disparities is paramount. Poverty, lack of opportunity, and social exclusion contribute significantly to the thriving of drug cartels. These underlying issues must be tackled head-on. Sustainable peace and security demand a holistic strategy. This includes social programs, economic development, and judicial reform. Only then can Brazil hope to break the cycle of violence and build a more just society. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get updates on the situation in Brazil.